Mom's husband accused me of seducing him so she'd cut me off. Years later, she found out he'd been forging her signatures and stealing her house right out from under her. I was 16 when my mom married Greg. He was charming to everyone on the outside, held doors, paid for dinner, called my mom his queen in front of her friends, brought flowers every Friday like it was some kind of routine. Her friends loved him. Her coworkers said she hit the jackpot. Behind closed doors, he was different. He'd stare at me too long when I came out of my room. He'd make comments about what I was wearing. He told me once I looked grown for my age while my mom was in the next room. I told her about it that night. She said I was reading into things. I told her again 2 weeks later after he brushed my hair off my shoulder while she was on the phone. She told me to stop overthinking it. The third time I brought it up, Greg was standing right in the doorway. He didn't even flinch. He looked at my mom with this wounded expression and said she's been doing this for weeks, trying to get my attention. I think she has a crush on me and doesn't know how to handle it. I stood there with my mouth open. My mom believed him. Not for a second did she look at me and ask if what he said was true. She turned on me and said, "You need to stop this right now or you're out of this house." I was 17 years old. I stopped talking about it. I stopped being in the same room as Greg. I ate in my bedroom, kept my door locked at all times, and counted the days until I could leave. The day I turned 18, I moved in with my aunt on my dad's side. She didn't ask questions. She just made up the spare room. Mom called once to say I was tearing the family apart. I said, "What family?" and she hung up. For the next 6 years, I built my life from nothing. Got through community college on financial aid and a part-time job at a tax office. Transferred to a state school. Graduated with an accounting degree and got hired at a mid-sized firm. Nobody helped me. Nobody checked in. I didn't hear from my mom once during those 6 years. Not a birthday call, not a holiday text, not a single word. Greg had her completely sealed off from me. Then one Tuesday my phone rang. It was my mom's number. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. The house. He took the house. She'd found out Greg had been forging her signature on refinancing documents for the past 4 years. He'd taken out 3 separate loans against the property, pulled out over $280,000 in equity, and moved it into accounts she never knew existed. The house my grandfather built with his own hands. The one my mom inherited free and clear when he passed. Greg turned it into collateral and drained it dry while she slept next to him every night. She only found out because a bank sent a notice about a missed payment on a loan she never applied for. When she confronted him, he didn't deny it. He laughed. He told her she was too stupid to notice and too old to start over. Then he packed a bag and left with a woman named Jess, who'd been waiting in the car in the driveway the whole time. My mom was sitting alone in a house she was about to lose with no savings and no plan. She asked me to come home. I sat with that for 2 days. Part of me wanted to say no. Part of me wanted to ask where she was when Greg was commenting on my body at 16. Where she was when she chose him over me without blinking. But she was still my mother. So I drove 4 hours and walked into that house for the first time in 6 years. It looked the same, but it felt hollow. She was sitting at the dining table with a pile of bank letters and a legal pad covered in numbers that made no sense. She looked 10 years older. I sat down across from her and didn't speak for a while. Then I said, "I need you to hear something before I help you with any of this." She nodded. I told her everything. Every comment Greg made, every look, every time I came to her and she picked him. She didn't interrupt. She just sat there crying. When I finished, she said, "I know. I think I always knew. I just didn't want it to be true." "That's not good enough," I said. She nodded again. "I know that too." I spent the next 3 weeks going through every document Greg had touched. My accounting degree wasn't for nothing. I found 4 forged signatures across 2 refinancing applications and 1 line of credit. I found the routing numbers for a shell account he'd been funneling payments through. I found receipts for a condo lease in another city under his name and Jess's. I organized all of it into a file and my mom's lawyer took it from there. Greg thought he'd gotten away clean. He hadn't even come close. The bank froze the remaining loan balance once the forgery evidence landed. But it got worse. For Greg. Jess found a notebook in his glove compartment 3 months later. A handwritten list of women going back 15 years. Names, addresses, property values. My mom was entry 6. Greg's facing charges in 2 counties. My mom and I aren't fixed, but she sees it.